If you blinked, you missed it. The World Cup's done, Wimbledon's done, and just like that, the sports world has one thing on its mind, and that is football.
Yeah, it's like the switch flips overnight.
It really does. I mean, we've got a massive 6 weeks ahead of us, and today we're doing a deep dive on the 3 big storylines that are absolutely going to dominate your group chats.
Oh, for sure.
We're talking NFL training camps officially opening up, the countdown to the college football kickoff, and, of course, the fantasy draft season that is about to take over everyone's lives.
Yeah, the pivot happens so fast.
Yeah.
You spend the whole summer watching tennis or soccer, you're out enjoying the sunshine, and then you wake up one morning and suddenly everyone is arguing over depth charts.
Right.
It's aggressive, but honestly, this quiet window before the games actually start, this is where you lay the groundwork. It's how you win your fantasy leagues and your pick'em pools.
Completely agree. And just a quick bit of housekeeping before we really hit the ground running here. This deep dive is brought to you by sportsbrackets.net. Every single printable tool, all the schedules, the cheat sheets we mentioned today, they are linked right in the show notes, completely free.
Yeah, you do not want to be the guy scrambling on draft night.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this, because as of today, July 28th, 2026, football is officially back on the field.
It is a huge date on the calendar. July 28th is the hard reporting deadline for all 32 NFL teams.
Right.
So every veteran player across the entire league, they're required to be in the building today. We're finally transitioning from, the theoretical off-season into the actual physical reality of football.
And there's such a massive difference between what happens during those June mini camps and what starts right now in late July.
Oh yeah, night and day.
Because I think a lot of casual fans hear the word camp and they just assume it's all the same thing, right?
Yeah, they do. But the stakes couldn't be more different. Back in June, those mandatory mini camps, they're basically a chalkboard session that just happens to take place on grass.
Right, guys are just running around in shorts.
Yeah, exactly. There's zero contact. It's purely about playbook installation. You're just learning the theory of the offense. But late July training camp, that's where the theory gets tested with live ammunition.
The pads come on.
The pads come on, full contact drills begin, and the evaluation process just becomes incredibly brutal. Because everything building up right now is fundamentally about shaping week 1.
Yeah, coaches have to figure out who can actually execute under pressure.
Right, leading right up to that really tense August 30th deadline when teams have to slash their rosters down to 53 men. I mean, careers are literally on the line starting today.
And the storylines this year, I mean, they are just wild. We're finally going to see some of these massive offseason shifts put into actual practice.
The veteran movement alone is just fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is back for what he's declared with zero debate, I might add. This is his final season in the NFL, but he's doing it in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform.
Which is just...
It's going to take some serious getting used to visually.
It really is. But beyond just the jarring visual of him in the black and gold, think about the psychological weight that puts on a franchise.
Oh, totally.
When a quarterback of that caliber publicly puts a definitive, undeniable expiration date on his career, the entire daily culture of that training camp changes.
The urgency has to be off the charts.
Exactly. There's intense urgency. Every single practice rep matters because there's no, we'll build on this next year. It is Super Bowl or bust right now.
And then you look at the blockbuster trades out west. Myles Garrett was traded to the Los Angeles Rams, joining Matthew Stafford.
What a duo.
Right. Both of those guys just hit the Madden $27.99 overall club, by the way.
That's terrifying for the rest of the NFC West.
For sure. And then meanwhile, out east, A.J. Brown is already out there telling reporters he's learned 90% of the New England Patriots offense.
Which, it sounds great in a soundbite.
Yeah.
But that missing 10% is usually the most critical part.
Yeah, it's the nuances.
Right, the unspoken sight adjustments, the option routes when you're under heavy pressure. That is exactly what training camp is for.
And for the younger guys, too, we're watching for those year 2 leaps. Like, Caleb Williams is out there promising the Chicago Bears offense is going to be more entertaining in his second year.
I mean, every offense is supposedly more entertaining in July.
Everyone's undefeated.
Right, everyone's undefeated. Every player's in the best shape of their life. You know the drill.
See, I always tell people to treat training camp reports like movie trailers because the PR departments and the beat writers, they're out there showing you the absolute best highlights.
Yeah, the one-handed catch.
The deep bombs, the CGI explosions, all of it.
That's a really great way to put it. Because what they cut out of that trailer are the plot holes.
Exactly.
They'll show you the spectacular diving catch, but they conveniently edit out the offensive line completely whiffing on a stunt block. right?
Yeah.
A block that would have resulted in a real game sack.
Yeah, you're getting a highly curated highlight reel, not the context of the play. And the biggest caveat to all this hype, in my opinion, is the injury report. Because this is a brutal, high-impact contact sport. And the wear and tear starts the second the pads go on.
It really does.
We're already seeing guys like Steelers defensive back Jalen Ramsey hitting the PUP list.
Yeah, the physically unable to perform list.
Right. So if you're managing a fantasy team, you have to look past the flashy highlight videos and keep a very close eye on those medical reports.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is how the preseason game schedule actually forced a couple of teams to start this brutal process early.
Oh, right. The Hall of Fame game.
Yeah, we talked about today, July 28th, being the league-wide deadline. But the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers actually had to report a full week earlier, on July 22nd.
Wow.
Because they're playing in Canton, Ohio on August 6th, their entire internal clock is just totally accelerated.
Well, and knowing exactly when and where your team is hitting the field is half the battle. We've got every team's reporting date and their training camp location all in one place for you.
Super helpful.
You can check exactly when your team reports with the 2026 NFL training camp schedule. The link's right in the show notes.
Yeah, and NFL training camps obviously mean the preseason slate is right behind them.
Yeah.
So for anyone looking for like a low-stakes warm-up, there's a free 2026 NFL preseason pick-em pool sheet in the notes, too. That covers those August 13th through 29th exhibition games.
Love a good pick 'em pool.
Oh, yeah. But let's be honest, while the NFL uses August for evaluation, the real high-stakes football is about to explode on college campuses.
The absolute best month in sports is almost here. I mean, Week O kicks off on Saturday, August 29th, and that rolls directly into the massive Labor Day weekend slate for Week 1 from September 3rd to the 7th.
It's beautiful.
College football opening weekend just hits differently.
It does, especially because the entire foundation of the sport has shifted underneath our feet again. We are officially in the era of the great realignment of 2026.
The map has been completely redrawn at this point.
It really has. I mean, the biggest headline is obviously the rebirth of the Pac-12.
Right.
They're back up to 8 members, which was the threshold they needed to actually survive as a conference.
So who did they end up pulling in?
So they grabbed Boise State, Colorado State, and Fresno State.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then they added San Diego State, Utah State, and Texas State to join Oregon State and Washington State.
It's a solid lineup. And we can't gloss over the fact that FCS powerhouse North Dakota State, NDSU, and Sacramento State are making their official FBS debuts this year.
That is massive.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't track the administrative side of college sports, moving from the FCS to the FBS isn't just a label change.
No, it's stepping up an entire weight class. We're talking about going from 63 scholarship players to 85.
That's a huge difference.
It requires massive financial investments in facilities, travel budgets, and just a totally different level of roster depth to survive a season against bigger, faster opponents week in and week out.
Right.
It's going to be a fascinating case study to see if NDSU can replicate their dominance at the higher level.
But the realignment, that's only half the story. The return of the 12-team college football playoff format is what's really going to change how you watch a Saturday slate.
Oh, completely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the 12-team format, which takes the 5 highest-ranked conference champions and 7 at-large teams, it fundamentally alters the stakes of the sport.
In a good way, I think.
In a great way. Under the old 4-team model, a single upset loss in late September meant a team season felt basically over. The margin for error was non-existent.
Now, a 2-loss SEC or Big Ten team is still fighting for their life in late November. It keeps fan bases engaged all autumn long.
Exactly. Not only that, but the home field advantage dynamics for the early rounds of the playoff are incredible now.
Oh, the campus games.
Yes. Instead of sterile neutral site bowl games, you're going to see high-stakes winner-go-home playoff games happening in hostile on-campus environments in December.
I can't wait.
Imagine a Southern team having to travel to Ann Arbor or Columbus in the snow for a playoff game. It completely changes the defensive strategy and the physical toll of the postseason.
So how are you planning to map out your Saturdays? Because if you're just waking up and flipping on the TV, you're already behind the curve.
Way behind.
Prepping for this season means printing out the full slate right now. You need to take a highlighter, mark down the rivalry weeks, find those marquee non-conference matchups, and definitely circle the Thursday night trap games.
Yeah, you need a visual roadmap if you want to track who's actually building a resume for those 7 at-large playoff bids.
which is exactly why we built the full 2026 college football schedule that you can print and pin up by your desk.
So good.
Yeah, you can start mapping your Saturdays today. The link is in the notes. And we'll also be dropping some printable 12-team CFP bracket content very soon. So what does this all mean for you guys listening?
It means there's an overwhelming amount of information flooding in right now.
Yeah.
You're learning the new NFL depth charts forged in training camp, and you're tracking the college standouts looking to make a name for themselves.
And all of that knowledge feeds directly into one highly practical, real-world application.
Dominating your fantasy football draft.
Exactly. We are officially in the crucial 6-week window where leagues are won. Draft prep in late July beats scrambling on the waiver wire in October every single time.
The math heavily supports that. Your draft dictates your team's baseline, but before you even look at a player ranking, you have to understand your league's scoring format. It dictates everything.
Yeah, let's give a quick primer on the classic PPR versus standard debate, because why does a simple scoring rule completely change your draft board?
It's all about how value is generated. So in a full PPR league, points per reception, every single catch is worth a point, regardless of whether that catch goes for 10 yards or 0 yards.
Right.
That gives a massive structural value bump to wide receivers, particularly slot receivers, and to running backs who catch a lot of passes out of the backfield.
Like the safety valve guys.
Exactly. Standard scoring, on the other hand, awards points primarily for actual yardage gained in touchdowns. So in standard, the value shifts heavily toward traditional high-volume running backs who get 20 carries a game and players who are highly dependent on finding the end zone.
So looking at the top of the board in PPR formats this year, Bijan Robinson is the consensus 1.01 overall pick.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and right behind him, you've got Jahmyr Gibbs and Puka Nacua. But a huge piece of strategy for anyone drafting soon: do not reach early on a quarterback. Josh Allen is the top QB on the board, but the position is incredibly deep.
You can absolutely afford to wait. The positional scarcity just isn't there at quarterback anymore.
No, it's not.
And the same goes for tight ends.
Yeah.
Trey McBride tops the list this year, but reaching for a tight end in the second round usually means you're sacrificing crucial depth at running back or receiver.
You also have to watch for rookies stepping into high-volume roles. Like Raiders running back Ashton Jandoy is already going inside the top 12 in a lot of drafts because the market just loves his projected workload.
For sure.
But standard snake drafts are one thing. Auction drafts are a completely different animal.
Oh, there's nothing quite like a $200 budget auction draft.
Yeah.
It rewards intense preparation.
It's stressful.
It is. You aren't sitting around waiting for your turn. Every single player is available to you as long as you're willing to pay the market price.
Right.
This year, Jamar Chase is the most expensive player on the board, commanding around $64. Jahmyr Gibbs is the top running back at $60.
So how do you distribute a $200 budget without totally ruining your roster?
Okay, so a statistically sound budget split usually looks like this. You allocate roughly 45% of your money to running backs, 38% to wide receivers, 6% to your quarterback, and 7% to your tight end.
Okay, that makes sense.
And if you're in an auction league, you have to memorize the golden rule of auction math.
Oh, this is the crucial part. So the equation is your maximum bid on any player equals your remaining money minus your open roster spots, -1.
Let's break that down so it's practical. Let's say you have $20 left and 4 empty roster spots. You are legally required to have at least $1 for every empty spot.
Right.
So you must save $3 for 3 of those empty spots. That leaves you with exactly $17 as your maximum possible bid for that one player you really want.
Because if you bid 18...
If you bid 18, you literally won't have enough single dollars left to fill your team.
Right.
Max bid equals your remaining money minus your empty spots, -1. It keeps you from getting frozen out of the draft.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. When you look at auction draft philosophies, there are basically 2 warring factions.
Oh boy, yeah.
You have the stars and scrubs strategy, where a manager will happily blow $170 on 3 elite players and just fill the rest of their roster with $1 bargains.
Yep.
And then you have the balanced approach, keeping all bids under $45 and building a deep roster of mid-tier starters. I have to push back heavily on stars and scrubs.
Why? I mean, it's won plenty of championships.
Because football is a brutal contact sport We literally just talked about guys like Jalen Ramsey getting hurt in the first week of training camp.
That's right.
Taking 85% of your fantasy budget and investing it into just 3 human bodies is a terrifying investment strategy. If one of your 3 stars rolls an ankle in week 2, your entire season is basically over. I will take the balanced approach every single time.
I get the risk aversion, I do. But think about the flip side. You're playing to win a championship, not to comfortably finish in 4th place.
Ouch. Okay.
Well, a completely balanced team is often a team full of B's players who rarely give you those 30-point spike weeks. Yes, injuries happen, but you can navigate injuries on the waiver wire. You cannot buy elite week-winning talent on the waiver wire in October. Scarcity at the top wins leagues.
That's a fair point, but it's a high wire act. Whichever strategy you use, though, you need a physical advantage in the draft room. Walking into a draft, staring blindly at a phone app, just endlessly scrolling to find a player, is a guaranteed recipe for panic drafting.
It really is.
Having a physical cheat sheet and a draft board with clear positional tiers printed out right in front of you beats the app every single time. You can cross names out, visibly see when a tier is drying up, and just make calm, calculated decisions.
Yeah, it gives you a macro view of the draft that a 6-inch screen just cannot provide.
Exactly. So grab our 2026 Fantasy Football PPR cheat sheet before your draft. It's completely free, it's updated, and the link is in the notes.
Definitely grab that.
We also threw in the printable NFL schedules for all 32 teams so you can track your fantasy players' bye weeks. Oh, and keep an ear out because our Fantasy Hockey Companion Guide is dropping soon to help you navigate that fall sports overlap.
Because the sports calendar doesn't stop.
Speaking of which, let's head a quick lightning round on what else is on the calendar right now. Because while football is taking over, a few other sports are hitting massive milestones.
Oh, absolutely. The baseball world is laser focused on the MLB trade deadline coming up this Friday, July 31st.
Yeah, there's always fireworks.
The massive moves made this week will directly shape the September playoff race and those postseason brackets.
We've also got the Little League World Series kicking off around August 20th, and the WNBA is heading right into its stretch run and playoff push, carrying just incredible momentum.
The schedule never really slows down. It just changes sports.
It really does. All right, let's quickly recap your 3 priorities for this week. 1, know exactly when your NFL team's training camp opens and watch those injury reports.
Yep.
2, print out your 2026 college football slate and start mapping your Saturdays. And 3, get your fantasy board prepped and figure out your draft strategy now.
Because preparation is the ultimate competitive advantage.
Exactly. All the free printables we talked about today are waiting for you in the show notes at sportsbrackets.net. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening because next time we're diving into our Week 1 Fantasy Start-'em Sit-'em advice and a full breakdown of the new CFP bracket.
And this raises an important question to think about before we go. We talked about legends, like Aaron Rodgers wearing a Steelers jersey. We talked about Myles Garrett in a Rams helmet. And West Coast mainstays like Fresno State and San Diego State rebuilding the Pac-12.
Right.
Has the era of traditional sports loyalty died? Are we entering an era where fans follow individual players, brand narratives, and their own fantasy stats more fiercely than they follow the laundry on their favorite team's back?
Oh, wow.
It's just something to consider the next time you find yourself cheering for a rival team's running back just because he's on your fantasy roster.
That is a very dangerous thought to leave them with, but an incredibly true one. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.